Welcome to Dvorkin on Debt, the podcast that helps you navigate life's biggest financial challenges and empowers you with real solutions. I'm your host, Sydney, and we're here with Howard Dvorkin to talk about Financial Literacy Month. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Sid.
So I want to start off with financial literacy in the workplace. What role do you think employers have on promoting financial literacy in the workplace?
Financial literacy, to give that education and expose your workers to that type of education and help, can mean a significant amount to not only the employees, but also to the company itself. I mean, think about the production or the productivity of a person that's up to their neck in debt. They're focused on their own finances during work. They're making calls. They're trying to find a solution during working hours, rather than waiting to go home at night and try to figure this out. Also, if you have this monkey on your back, so to speak, which is called debt, it's tough to shake it off. And all of a sudden, life is perfect. It's not. And it's challenging. I think that employers have really embraced this concept. And when we first started introducing employee education, it kind of got shunned a little bit. Oh, I don't want to get involved. Well, that's changing. There's certain packages available out there that are focused on large groups, and certainly Debt.com has one that will provide videos, it'll provide reports, it'll provide budgeting. Those are things that the consumer needs or the employee needs, but unfortunately it's not readily available out there, or they don't know where to look. If it's sitting there in their benefits package, maybe they'll take advantage of that.
So what are the basic resources that you think all employers should be providing to their employees?
There's a whole schedule of resources that you can do. Simple budgeting. There's no place in this country, when we're handed a credit card, it doesn't come with an owner's manual. Right. It says go spend, spend, spend. And things like that, like mortgages. I know that certain companies that I've started go out and educate large groups, and the thirst for knowledge, for financial knowledge, is extreme. I mean, sometimes I walk into these classrooms and there's no place to sit because where are you going to get financial education from? We all think as parents that it's happening in the schools. It's not happening in the schools unless in college maybe you pick a financial literacy course or a financial personal finance course. It's not happening in the high schools. So where's it happening? A lot of people are picking it up on TikTok or whatever on social media, and those are little snippets. If, and it's a big if, as long as those snippets aren't directing you to sign up for some crazy scheme to get out of debt or to take on more debt. So it is challenging. There's no real trusted voice out there. I shouldn't say no. There's none. I should say there's limited trusted places that a consumer can go to in order to get real information that can benefit them and really have an impact in their financial lives.
Financial literacy is about knowing things like what APR stands for and building real-world skills. What do you think that adults need to prioritize first?
You really need to sit down and understand your finances and then figure out where you're going. You could read a lot of stuff online in books, but a lot of it may not be applicable to you. So you need to focus on your budget. You need to focus on what your debt is, and make sure and understand how much you owe, first of all, how much you're being charged for the pleasure of owing this bank or financial institution all this money, and figure out how you're going to chart a course out of debt and what you're going to do in order to figure out how to get out of debt. And most people don't realize that there's lots of services and good services that are available for free to go and turn around, and they can help you chart a course. Because there's really only 5 ways to get out of debt, Sydney.
Right.
And one is do nothing and pay interest for the next 35 years. That's not a good solution.
I would put that at the bottom of the list.
That's pretty bad.
I'd put it at the bottom.
Another one, a good one, is the ostrich method, which is, I know, it sounds interesting.
Okay.
Stick your head in the sand and hope that things turn out okay when you pull it out.
Okay, I'd also put that one at the bottom.
Yeah, that's not a good one.
Worse.
That's not a good one. There's credit counseling, and there's tremendous credit counseling agencies across this country that are willing to help you, and most of them are nonprofit, and they will turn around and chart a path for you to get out of debt for free. Another way is debt settlement, which is able to negotiate on your behalf. And then finally, the last thing is personal bankruptcy, which I don't recommend ever. Actually, I do recommend it sometimes because it's the right thing to do for some people.
Yeah.
But it's not the first thing to do. And unfortunately, there's lots of bankruptcy attorneys out there. And I know they want to do the right thing, and they're like, oh, you're 18 years old and you have $5,000 in debt, file bankruptcy. I'm exaggerating, but unfortunately, these people make money from preparing bankruptcy filings.
What about kids? When do you think kids should start learning about financial education?
Well, if they're my kids, they started very, very young. And I can assure you, neither of them will ever be in debt. Because I'll beat them up if they do. But started as a game to make them understand finances, talk about the barter system. Don't be afraid of the old taboo that the dinner table, we don't talk about money. Money is a big part of our society, and it's a giant part of our lives these days. And the more you can expose children to finances and talking about money, the more educated they're going to be. And don't think that they're going to get educated in a school or a classroom. It's just not going to happen. You need to start at the kitchen table.
Right.
And start young. And once you start, continue to talk about it. And go back and review. And don't be afraid to share the family's finances with children. And that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
So April is Financial Literacy Month, as we've said. What is one thing listeners can do during the month of April to get them on the right foot toward having more financial stability?
People need to start thinking about their finances and focus on their finances. And it's not just the month of April. It's every month. But they need to understand that things are expensive. They need to figure out how much goes towards their household expenses, how much goes towards savings, how much goes to fun things. Not too much fun. But it can't all be business. You need to, in life, you need to have a balance. And certainly you're going to have some of your finances go to stuff there's no value to, but, go on a trip, go to the movies, go do things, because what are we working for? Mm-hmm. What are we all working towards?
Thank you for the really wise words, Howard, on today's very important topic. So we look forward to the next one, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Sid.